A patient refusing to sign their blood donation consent form unless the donor is unvaccinated is where we are at in this pandemic. You know what? So be it. Honestly, if someone is really going to reject blood I have donated because I am vaccinated, fine. Let my blood go to someone who is actually smart. Let my blood go to someone who is willing to survive and wants to survive and is willing to take precautions to survive. Fine. That's fine by me. Special thanks to my supporters over at Patreon and my YouTube members for supporting my channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. We are once again returning to r/vaxxhappened. Anti-vaxxers are still an issue, and this pandemic, although the media isn't reporting on it much, is still ongoing. It is still an issue, and there are still anti-vaxxers pushing dangerous narratives that don't make sense. So let's take a look, shall we? We're back to mandatory N95s in the hospital, and y'all out here literally singing about being able to cough on each other on planes. I'm so goddamn tired. Like I said, this pandemic is not over. It's worse. It's gotten really bad, especially here in the UK. It's bad, but governments have given up, right? Like Boris Johnson has gotten to the point where everything he does is just to cover up his incompetence, okay? So he does not care about this pandemic. He doesn't care about people dying from it. He doesn't care about any implications that could be there from this pandemic. Because of his appearance, there are thousands of cases in the UK every day. In fact, let me take a look. Currently, in the UK, we are averaging at around 50 to 60,000 cases a week. I don't know what to say. The pandemic is still real and it is still ongoing, and people are choosing to ignore it because they're bored of it. And there are still hundreds of thousands of people dying worldwide. This is still a legitimate issue, but people are, I'm bored of wearing a mask. I want to be able to sit in a box full of other people and spread this virus which is killing millions of people. And they are willfully ignorant to the fact that ignoring it is what makes it worse. Ignoring it is the reason it's still ongoing. Refusing to do anything about it is the reason it's taken so long. A 4-year-old in Colorado died from the flu this week. Days before, his mum reached out to Facebook's biggest anti-vax group. Members told her not to take the Tamiflu a doctor had prescribed, but give him oils and elderberries and put potatoes in his socks. So to anybody that doesn't think that anti-vax movements are dangerous and that they don't result in deaths, this is negligence. I don't know how you could argue that this was anything other than negligence on the parents' part. The parents' refusal to treat her child how a doctor has prescribed has resulted in her child's death. That's straight up negligence. Trust me, the science is settled. Trust me, the science is settled. Ben Garrison back at it again with the terrible cartoons. I see this kind of thing a lot where people are like, oh, but 100 years ago, doctors thought that cigarettes were healthy, and in the past they used leeches and all of that stuff. And it's like, you understand that the reason we know that these things are not safe is because of scientists. The reason that we thought cigarettes were safe in the past was because cigarette companies did private testing and claimed that they were safe. Okay, and then unbiased scientists who weren't paid by those tobacco companies did testing on tobacco and found, oh, it's not safe. You know what's happened with the vaccines? Hundreds of groups of scientists from around the world, unbiased, not being paid by the companies manufacturing those vaccines, have done tests on the vaccines and shown they're safe. We know things are safe because of scientific testing. And they're like, oh, but in the past they thought things were safe that aren't. Yeah, and science proved that wrong. How do they not understand that? I am a victim of PCR COVID testing as a healthcare worker that went too far, broke my blood-brain barrier, ethylene oxide poisoning hit my central nervous system that collapsed. I still suffer. This is me today. Praise ya. Okay, so this woman believed that a cotton swab broke a bit of bone in her skull. And look, me being me, I had to do some digging. First of all, to see if her story is consistent, because you know what people like this were like. And the first thing I saw when I clicked onto her Twitter is that she tweets regularly on a multiple daily basis Bible quotes. She posts scriptures, she retweets scriptures, she posts Bible quotes. And look, I didn't want to write her off immediately just because of that, or just because of the fact that she has wake up in her bio and you know, do your own research in her bio, that classic quote of do your own research. I didn't want to write her off by that, because there are intelligent and smart and scientific Christians. There are plenty of them. In fact, the majority of them tend to be, particularly outside of America. So I wanted to look in a little bit closer, and I found a thread of her claiming that the cotton swab had cracked through a substantial bit of bone to get to her brain there, and that the poison was absorbed through, followed by her using just the blurriest diagram where I can just about make out that something says blood-brain barrier, and that's about it. Just the blurriest diagram in the world. And then pagan ritual abuse, and used an Egyptian tapestry, an Egyptian papyrus drawing. And I didn't pick up on this while recording, but I just wanted to point out something. She says people lie and don't do research. They can say what they want. Facts are facts. And replies to that very message with pagan ritual abuse, an image that she didn't research into and lied about. She just made something up about that image. Just the irony there. That on its own should be enough to write this off. However, someone did respond to the pagan ritual abuse, stating, "Complete rubbish. Why are you tweeting such shocking nonsense? This is a reconstruction of a fresco from an ancient Egyptian tomb, showing an ophthalmologist treating a patient. Nothing to do with pagan ritual abuse." What we have here is an Egyptian depiction of someone treating someone's eye. It has nothing to do with the nose. Absolutely nothing. It's not even ritual. It's Egyptian medicine. Followed by, turns out that Angel Eisenman, not false religion, trying to stay humble, did not appreciate being corrected. They were blocked for pointing out that she just used a reconstruction of Egyptian artwork on medicines on the eye to say, cotton swabs in the nose are bad. It's embarrassing. So yeah, I don't believe her story one bit. I don't. Anybody could put on a mask, put a cotton thing over their eye, and pull a face. Anyone could do that. I don't believe her story at all. That's it. That's all I have to say. Regarding the people who are posting our comments on Reddit, you are the problem with America. You hide behind a screen name. You are a coward who doesn't stand for anything. I'm not American, and I don't live in America. Am I the problem with America? Because I use an anonymous name on the internet? I guess so. Also, what do they want? What do they want our names for? Do they want to dox us? Do they want to try and get us fired from our jobs? Do they want to report us to local authorities? Sounds a lot like trying to cancel us based on posting things on Reddit. That's interesting, isn't it? Right-wing cancel culture is a plague, by the way. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. I'm gonna go on a tangent. But has anyone else noticed that when left-wing people say, oh, we need to boycott a store because of their views on trans issues or gay rights and, you know, race issues and that kind of thing, they boycott it. That's the end of it. Those people don't go to those shops. But when right-wing people boycott something, like the Disney thing, anyone else notice how they form a roadblock to stop anybody going to Disneyland? Like, that's not a boycott. A boycott is saying, I'm not going to go there, and people who agree with me shouldn't go there. What they do is they form a roadblock so that people who couldn't care less about their political beliefs and just want to go to Disneyland are unable to go, even with the money they have paid to go there. So right-wing cancel culture is actually like 5 times as toxic as left-wing cancel culture, and yet they'll constantly complain about liberals and their cancel culture. That's an interesting one, isn't it? It's interesting. I don't know what anyone else has to say about that. Let me know what you think, because I think it's just hypocrisy at its finest, really. Who else thinks not wearing a mask on a plane during a pandemic is really funkin' stupid? Me. We're still in a pandemic where worldwide there are hundreds of thousands of daily cases and a lot of people still dying. And we're going, oh, you know what makes sense? Let's put people in a box where the air is recycled throughout the box for hours. Let's put them all in a compact box where they all sit together in the same room for like up to 12 hours depending on the flight, with no requirement for masks and no requirement for vaccines. Yeah, no, that makes sense. What could possibly go wrong? And then I'm gonna get the news article up and show it for this. They then complain, oh, we can't find staff to work in our airports because they all have COVID. How could this happen? I wonder. Anti-vaxxers are using breakthrough cases like mine to push dangerous, unscientific lies. So let me be clear. I feel fine. I don't need a ventilator. My family isn't worried about whether I'll make it because I'm vaccinated. Vaccines save lives. Please get yours today. Nothing like using the health of a vaccinated person to show that you don't need vaccines. Look, this guy's doing great. He's healthy and he had COVID. Yeah, he's vaccinated. Wait, what? Genius. Absolute genius. Numerous truckers I have spoken with in Hagerstown are pretty worked up over a federal COVID-19 vaccine mandate. But there is one big problem. There has never been a US federal COVID-19 vax mandate. Yes, I've called them idiots. I stand by that assessment. This gives me big vibes of in the UK when lockdown restrictions got lifted, and the day after lockdown restrictions got lifted, anti-vaxxers got together to host a protest against lockdown restrictions, which didn't exist. Or that time that anti-vaxxers tried to storm the BBC building and they got the wrong building. They're not the brightest bunch, are they? My brother has cancer. The whole family has cancer from the vaccine. I wish I could fight back. I'm sorry, man. I am so sorry. I tried to tell people. I tried and tried. And I don't know. Shit sucks. That's the response. That's the response to my whole family got cancer is, man, that sucks. Like, this is the fakest conversation in the world, straight up. But in case it wasn't fake enough, I really needed to point out this statement that I found. Scientists have found that for most breast and bowel cancers, the tumors begin to grow around 10 years before they are detected. And for prostate cancer, tumors can be many decades old. Cancer does not just materialize and appear within months of getting a vaccine. This vaccine's been around for what, a year and a half, maybe 2 years now? That's not long enough for you to have found that you have cancer. That's not enough for a whole family to be diagnosed. I'm just saying. Cobra snake venom is in the water and in the COVID vaccine. Why? Like what reason would anyone have to put Cobra venom in the water or the vaccine? What reason would anyone have to poison their own people's water and poison them? Especially with Cobra venom. Cobra venom is really easy to trace. It can be very easily tested and traced. So what reason would they have to poison the water supply with Cobra venom? Something that easily traced. They never have reasons. They never do. Probably something Cobra venom is used in mind control, and I don't know. Speaking of mind control, headline reads, measles outbreak in anti-vaxxer communities. Sheeple think, see, anti-vaxxers are making our living spaces more dangerous by bringing back almost extinct diseases. Yes, that's what's happening. Exactly that. Me, a free thinker, able to see through the lies of the government. The government must have released some of the virus near a school so people would contract it, thus scaring people into vaccinating their children as they continue to try and perfect their mind control bug, which they inject through vaccinations. I'm gonna point out one of the biggest flaws in vaccines are for mind control. Okay, vaccines are over 100 years old. In fact, the first vaccine was created in 1796. Don't you think that if the government was trying to mind control people with vaccines, a vaccine that has existed for over 200 years. Don't you think that they would have made some achievement in regards to that by now? And don't you think that if that was the case, 50% of the country wouldn't be fighting the other 50% over disagreeing with all of their political views? Don't you think the country would be a bit more coherent in who they agree with by now? No? You don't think that? Why not? What's the point of mind control if they aren't using it to control people? And the final post. To all you brave folk who stood against lockdowns, restrictions, and vaccine passports, and refused to buckle despite enormous pressure from media, government, and even at times, friends and family. Your resilience is extraordinary. Keep on fighting. Never give up. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you for making this pandemic last 5 times longer than it needed to. Thank you for continuing the pandemic. Thank you for the hundreds of thousands of deaths that are still ongoing. Thank you for the fact that we are still not through this pandemic because you refuse to do anything about it. Thank you for refusing to do things in the first months that could have stopped any of this happening. Thank you for ruining so many people's lives, for killing so many people. Your resilience is extraordinary. And that's where I'm going to end the video, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click the join button on my channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. Special thank you to my patrons and YouTube members: Nix, Holly Miller, Kaori Ann Mori, Karen Duca, Sarah Bear, Elle, Chase Howard, Maxine Langkow, Dev, Top Shelf, Rennie, Thomas Penny, Greyhound, Gravity Gaia, Lillian of the Vale, Emily Potter, Ade, Lucky Socks, Kelly Bock, Carolyn, Sven Arctic Fox, The Angry Potato, Abel Eris Winchester, Ghost Orchid, Outcast Jupiter, Kate Cat, Conspiracy Cake, Two Lakes in a Valley, Emily L, Ika Limchok, An Agent, Charlie the Mad 256, and The Wings of Ruin for supporting my channel and supporting my content. Thank you so much, guys. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.